this $100 right here. I'm gonna look on the camera system and see who snagged the $100 bill, testing people's integrity.
Other shop spaces I've looked at have just been not great.
Carter is gonna crush it.
Check this out. Thinking about buying this.
I'm just kind of sketched out by that situation.
There was some sort of misunderstanding due to her ignorance. Hey, Jorge!
So there's not a lot of wiggle room. We've got to really get things done.
You know, I know some of you guys may disagree with me.
I literally don't want you to buy it.
I'm going to fill out the finance information, get 0% interest.
We can't do that anymore. The debt will eventually catch up.
You know, I could be crippled up. I'm still going to be successful.
60% of businesses will fail in their first 3 years. I'm Mike Andes, and I'm on a mission to fix this. I know the fear, and I felt their pain. For the next 30 days, these owners will be sweating it out while trying to avoid becoming another statistic on this season of Business Boot Camp.
As long as you know it's risky, because it's extremely risky. This is the last week I have to get through to Aaron. I'm honestly a little freaked out.
The business right now is not doing good. I know I have a lot of like nice shit, but I really don't have a lot of money in my bank account.
We started with 2 main goals. Implement a CRM software so he can manage his jobs better and give him more time to focus on selling and growing his business.
The downfall in doing it this way is it kind of works off the honor system and it works off of my brain.
And secondly, we need to keep this massive amount of debt from crippling the business.
There needs to be a spending freeze. There does.
His addiction to debt and buying massive equipment for projects he doesn't use on a regular basis scares me.
Instead of drugs, they started putting it on like other things. And what I don't want to see you do is put identity in the trucks and the equipment.
Last week, he ordered a brand new F450 and he's looking at purchasing even more equipment.
No!
This is a couple guys on the crew. Jorge, hola, Ulises, always smiling. So what we are doing is creating a new riverbed. All the rocks are falling down, so we're going to take out all the old rocks, put larger rocks on the sides to help the smaller rocks from falling down. We are going to treat the trees with a Fertilome root drench insecticide. It looks like the ash is infected. It's probably the emerald ash borer. You see all the little divots throughout the tree. Let's walk to the back. We're gonna do some planting. This is a reoccurring job that we do. We're planting some plants. Looks like they haven't been watered. I'll turn on the drip system to water those. We are reseeding this lawn. We only come here once a month, so that's why it looks the way it does. These are hibiscus flowers, red ones. They're hardy. I recommend the red ones if you want them to last. But yeah, we're gonna reseed this with winter rye. We planted a Texas mountain laurel. It looks like we got to check out the planting. Really, on these plants right here, we should not have any dirt up on the stem of it. There's a root flare, and that's where the dirt needs to be. So that's something I need to go over with the guys. And then the back's all gonna have rock as well. So I finally got the courage to make a decision, something that's been on my mind for quite a while now. One of my employees, he makes $4 more an hour than the other guys that do the exact same job. When I hired this guy, I was desperate. I picked him up off the corner. I offered him $20 an hour versus $16 an hour because I needed him that day. So I talked to my foreman about it. He's bilingual. He's going to give this guy a call and explain to him that if he wants to continue working with me due to my business not doing well and the skill set that he brings to the table, that at this time I cannot afford to continue paying him $4 more per hour. That's $1,200 I'm paying this guy extra, and this guy doesn't have a vehicle. He needs to get picked up. He needs to get dropped off at home. He doesn't know a lick of English at all. 100% Spanish. He's older. He's a little slower. I just can't continue to keep losing money like that. You know, if I want to tighten up this ship, for instance, I'm trying to cut back going to Starbucks every day, or not order as much crap, you know, maybe just a plain basic iced coffee instead of like the gourmet chocolate mocha latte. I'll just order like a regular hot coffee or iced coffee. So little things like that where I can save money instead of being so bougie. I'm trying to actually make some impactful changes in my business within this 30 days. I promised myself that I would do that, and that's what I'm gonna do. This morning is one of the very few times that I accidentally sleep in. So that's what happened this morning. Unfortunately for me, I went to bed feeling very bad. And then this morning, woke up runny nose, still feel like crap. My plan today was to input all the information into Jobber. I had a meeting with the Jobber lady yesterday. That went well. Had a guy call out the night before on Sunday. He's one of my drivers, and with such late notice, I already had this week kind of scheduled. I don't feel comfortable letting one of these other guys drive the truck. I'm putting it at risk. They're not on insurance. The one guy that I do somewhat, if I had to have someone drive, he actually doesn't have a driver's license, so he's taking a risk. I'm going with the guys today. We're gonna go knock out this tree job. We're gonna grind out a stump, and then we're gonna call it an early day. Hope I feel better. You know, I gotta really be careful with my stepdaughter. She has a weakened immune system right now, so I'm kind of isolating myself in the house. Gotta wear a mask. You know, I don't want her getting sick, so that'll be horrible. So
Tell me a little bit about working with Jobber. I know it's a big change, obviously, so maybe it's not fully integrated, but are you moving some of the things into Jobber right now?
Yeah, I am. I've integrated QuickBooks. I've added some of my accounts, not all of them yet. I actually ran into some issues this week. We had some issues, you know, with that. The guy I suspected that was lying to me that called out. Turns out he didn't go to California, but I thought that was very inconsiderate of him to just bail last minute. I'm just sick of people's bullshit, you know? Part of me wants to tell that guy, no, dude, you're not working for me no more. I'm sorry. I found another driver. He zoomed in. He said something about a family member was doing drugs and died. He stopped by my house last night to collect his pay from last week. But and I asked him, I was like, I thought you were going to California. Oh, no, we're leaving tomorrow, is what he said. But I really don't think he's going to California. And then I ended up getting COVID tested.
No way.
Yeah, I heard a lot of people from the expo actually got COVID. You know how yesterday I mentioned that I was not feeling well the night before. Towards the end of the night yesterday, I started really feeling like crap. I ended up taking a COVID test, and sure enough, it was positive.
Wow. So was it kind of, were you kind of just down for a day or two?
No, I still have it, but I can't afford to get all my crew sick. So being down one driver, we can only fit 7 guys in one truck. So a few of the guys had to stay home, you know, since I'm the kind of the backup driver.
Cool. I know that might have thrown a monkey wrench. I know we were going to go over some of the numbers in terms of revenues and things like that for next year. Were you able to put those together, or I know it's been obviously a hectic week.
And it has been kind of a crazy week. So what were the numbers that you wanted to go over for next year?
It's really, honestly, it's just a matter, even if we don't go over it together, just so you have them, and that is what the revenue projections are going to be for each month in 2023. That's the first thing. Second thing is what the profit on each of those months are going to be. And then the third thing is, based upon those, how much cash is going to be in the bank throughout. Because what I really want you to think about going forward is obviously the decision, hey, we're going to grow this thing. We're going to utilize this equipment that we've purchased to basically outgrow the debt, right? And I think the big thing that I'd be trying to push you towards is keeping track of cash on hand and then using that as a ratio against your debt. And then that would be kind of the confines to stay disciplined with the debt, because debt is just like a treadmill. You can just keep going and going and going. And especially if it's backed up with an asset like a truck, right? What I would recommend is to kind of discipline yourself and just have a number that's like, hey, I'm not going to go over this certain debt to cash ratio. So like I would recommend like a 5-to-1 debt to cash in the bank ratio at a max, right? Like that's a pretty high number, but that would assume, let's say we have $300,000 in debt. We need $60,000 or more in cash in the bank in order for us to get any more debt. I'm very confident in your ability to grow. You have all the assets you need. You have the ability to sell. You have the personality to do it. I think you're going to do fantastic in the growth side. My bigger concern is the acute cash crunch and just making sure that never happens again. to discipline yourself, I'd be like, hey, look, if you want to buy more trucks, if you want to buy more equipment, great, but let's keep it in check using this math. And that is, okay, as soon as I get above $60,000 in the bank, cash in the bank, then I have permission to go give myself a little more debt because we're at that $300,000 level now. I need that 60,000 in order for that 5-to-1 ratio to work out. And then it's just a matter of like, well, if I can pay down some debt, and then I can make the equation work more with less cash in the bank, right? But it'd be a way to discipline yourself before you go out and get more debt. Because the last thing I want you to do is go get a 400,000 or 500,000 and we're still at that, $5, $10, $15,000 in the bank, and just this constant, stress of having to, service that debt.
Over the past 30 days, Aaron has gone from putting his entire business in a reminders app on his iPhone to integrating with a CRM. Very important as he begins to scale. He's starting to think about being able to hand off certain tasks in the business so he can focus on sales, which he needs to do in order to be able to sustain this debt level.
I hear you. Yeah, I definitely need to have the discipline on that. I think you're right. I definitely need to have a stockpile saved up. So I'm gonna end up getting a job where we're gonna be planting 44 trees, 24-inch box trees. So I was contemplating whether or not I should buy this mini excavator. I am here at Vermeer with my nice expensive truck and trailer, checking out this new equipment, thinking about buying this.
I literally don't want you to buy it.
I'm going to fill out the finance information, get 0% interest.
We can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
The debt will eventually catch up.
In Tacoma, Washington, Dylan is looking to double his business next spring.
Did you say you think we have the potential of 60 to 80,000 a month in revenue next year?
Absolutely. Yep. I think that would be as a minimum.
Over the last 3 weeks, we've talked about marketing strategies and setting up a mid-level management system to get Dylan out of the field and focused on selling.
Feeling pretty pumped about their buy-in in this whole process, growing the company.
However, he is still running his business out of his personal house, and this growth that he's having in his business is upsetting his neighbors.
We're starting to monopolize the space out here. Don't think the neighbors probably appreciate it too much.
If he is going to keep growing, he needs to find a new shop space, and quick.
A couple of my neighbors aren't super happy with me running the business, and there's been some events that are making me feel like I got to get out of the house.
Let's see if we can help find him a shop space before the end of the boot camp.
So, feeling pretty good today because our employee showed up for the first day of work. So that's always a good first step. The guy we just hired, he seems to be working hard. I checked in with Jose, who's our primary trainer right now. Don't want to jinx it, but I'm feeling pretty good about it because, I was a little nervous if I let the employee go last week, if this replacement would work out. So also I'm working on my goal of trying to find some shop space. Right now, we're not going to be able to grow at all. We're kind of capped out where we're at my house. We've got 3 trucks and a dump trailer and some unhappy neighbors there. Just shopping around. I was able to get some ads online posted. I posted it on all the local Facebook groups. I posted a Craigslist ad, and I've heard from, I think, 4 people. One guy was just right away, he's like, oh, you could trust me. We don't need to do a lease. We could do a cash deal every month. And I don't know. I'm just kind of sketched out by that situation. Although his property sounded ideal, like really good. It just makes me a bit nervous going into something like that, just straight cash deal each month. So the plan is that most of his stuff would be back here. If there's any parking available, it would be more on this side. The benefit of this property is there is kind of a green belt back there where we could potentially dump some things, but we're still just trying to figure out logistically if it would fit. It's pretty narrow, as you can see here, so it'd be tough in terms of employee parking and getting all our trucks to fit in here, especially if the backside of the property is not going to be used by us. There is some electrical and things out here, potential for an office here, so this is something to consider.
How has it been trying to find a shop space? I know that was something we were thinking about last week. Have you been able to look around, get any good leads, any good spots at all?
Yeah, not really. I visited, I think, 3 sites. One was like 2/3 of an acre, just not enough. The other 2 were close to an acre, but just very sketchy area, to be honest. It just wasn't, like one guy was running he's doing a good thing for the community, but like homelessness type type. He was trying to really get whatever revenue he could out of it. So he was helping marginalized people, mentally ill people on the same property. So it just wasn't the best fit. And he was transparent. He's like, yeah, we've had people come back and kind of prowl things around here, like former residents. So just not great. This guy that I just got off the phone with, he sounded like a nice gentleman. He's doing a lot, I think, for the community. He's actually trying to help people who are marginalized in the community. So some people have been in the correctional facility, some people have mental health, homelessness. So on part of his property, he kind of houses some of these guys, or, you know, helps keep them busy. It's just, and it's also a part of, I think, maybe a nonprofit church. But he was honest about, you know, some of the residents who in the past have come back to the property and kind of proud things. So again, it's just, I feel like I keep striking out when it comes to adequate space in our area that's safe. So that's the tough part, because Tacoma, we have a few areas like a little bit east that they're bigger plots of land, but it's not the best area in terms of crime. Then we have over the bridge, which is probably not going to work because the bridge toll, you know, that's 12 minutes away. Then we're looking at going all the way to Graham, which is like 45 minutes away. So it's just very tough in terms of finding something that's going to fit. And the leads have really died off.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't worry about it. Like, honestly, even the fact that in a week you've seen 3 properties is amazing. In the past, we waited between 3 and 4 weeks to find a good spot, and I've only ever looked at 2 or 3 locations. So the fact that you get that much response is pretty good. I would probably post on those same things like in a couple weeks. But what'll happen is, like, obviously a lot of those people on those listings and those groups aren't necessarily watching every single day. So you'll get a random one, you know, pop up in a few days.
Yeah.
So I'd be patient with it. 3 in 1 week, honestly, is really, really good.
Okay.
I've actually never looked at more than 3 before making a decision, but you have to be confident, especially with the plan for marketing next spring and the growth trajectory, especially having Michael and Jose in those positions. Like, you're going to need the space. And the last thing you want to do is in the middle of spring rush, be capping growth because you can't get more trucks in where you're currently at. Yeah. So like, don't let that be a temptation, because it will happen. Like, you'll come into like November, December, things slow down. You're like, okay, maybe we can make it work one more year. And like you have the capital grow, like just go do it.
I'm all in. I'm going to make it happen.
Cool.
And Michael and Jose, as time goes, I just feel like they're even more all in. So we're talking a lot about it.
I think too, having the space is helpful for the employees to see, like, just the fact that it's a little more permanent. It's not at your house. There's a lot of cultural benefits to having a shop space. But, and again, I don't recommend someone do it from day one, but you having already been, you know, 300,000-400,000 revenue next year, I expect 600,000 to 700,000. You need the space. You got to get out of the house, because it just makes it where, you know, your house, your personal life and the business get too intertwined, and then the employees start to treat it like that, and you just become too common to them.
So I'm at the 3rd property, the 3rd lead I have for potential shop space. Initially, it sounded really, really promising, just because 2 acres, that should be plenty, assuming there's, you know, open room for us. And, you know, you could see some of the housing up front is where that portion of the land is. But the back portion here, this area would be kind of the dedicated area for the shop. And, you know, part of the conversation with this individual who owns the property is the security side of things. And I asked him, you know, with the residents, are we going to be bugging them, or is there any concerns that we should have about theft? And he was forthright. He said he has security cameras here, and he's had former residents come and prowl the property. So it's a bit tough, because, you know, I respect what the guy's doing, but I'm not sure if something like this is ideal for us, because it's a little nerve-wracking getting all your equipment and everything out of your own house and growing out of your personal residence, because you feel like you can kind of watch things, keep eye on it. But a spot like this, you know, despite the good deeds he's doing, it might not be a good fit, just because we may have to worry about that piece with theft and people messing with our equipment. So yeah, the search may have to continue on this one, but so far I don't have any more leads. So hopefully I hear from some more people on the ads I put out, and I may repost the ads in a few days and just keep chugging along and see what we can find.
See this $100 right here? See how it says copy? Other than that, looks pretty real. Feels a little fake, but could pass as a real $100 bill. I set one of these out underneath my guy's pay last night. No one said anything. They didn't say, hey Aaron, did you lose $100? Hey, this $100 dropped out of someone's pay. So I'm gonna look on the camera system, see who was the first one at the house this morning, who opened up the garage. I got a camera inside of the garage, and see who snagged the $100 bill. Hopefully one of these guys tells me, hey, I lost $100 and one of the $100 fell out of the envelope. Or, you know, they should say, Aaron, why'd you set out a fake $100 bill? I'm thinking someone might be trying to snag an extra $100. Turns out it's not real. Testing people's integrity. Stay tuned. This is the pine tree that I was talking about. My guy Juan, he says that he can climb that like a monkey, no problem, and he does not need a rope. I would prefer him to have a rope and limb walk all of this. So I'm gonna teach him how to use that. He's never used a rope before. He's just a natural talent free climber. I would prefer that he uses a rope. I told him that we want to keep him and we need him. He forgot his hard hat at the house. I offered him to use mine. Mine's a little bit too big for his head, so there is a problem. Basically, I forgot to tell Juan that he's only trimming this tree, and he thought that we were cutting this entire tree down, and he just cut a big branch. Fortunately, we can still make the tree look good, but that's my bad. This guy over here, I told him to put gasoline, and he didn't listen. Hey, Jorge, tú necesito gasoline. Arriba, and then start it. I don't know how to say start it. Gasoline, start. He's gonna try to muscle it up. All right, I gotta go, guys. I want to touch on something I said earlier this week. Yeah, I'm gonna end up getting a job where we're gonna be planting 44 trees, you know, 24-inch box trees. So I was contemplating whether or not I should buy this mini excavator. So I called Bobcat and I was asking him how much does it cost for a mini excavator. Since I got this job coming up, you know, why do I want to rent one for a week and then just basically blow that money?
Ultimately, the big thing that you don't want to do is buy equipment that's only being utilized even 100 or 100 hours a year, right? Like if you're not using that piece of equipment every single day, I literally don't want you to buy it, especially at this stage where the debt is at.
I have the confidence that I'm going to get jobs. I believe in my ability, regardless of whether money's tight or not. It's not always going to be tight.
For example, you could go get more jobs with an excavator, yes, or we could just spend money behind marketing and take the current, you know, tree. We have a boom, we have a massive tree chipper, we have all the equipment to do tree work. Why not go spend $2,000 on marketing that generates then $30,000 worth of tree work, and then takes the current assets that we have and makes them more profitable and efficient? Like return on equity is a very big number I would be looking at if I was you. And that is, how often am I using my assets? The equity that I've put into the business, how profitable is it for me? And these assets have to be utilized more. And if they're only being utilized 1 day a week or even 2 days a week, I wouldn't even be, like personally, I wouldn't even do that service anymore. I only want to take a current asset and I just beat the thing into the ground by using it, because that's when it's its most profitable. I'd be really encouraging, like, let's either cut services out or just take the services that we have and just sell more of those and not get allured by like, oh, okay, if I have one planting job with boxwoods, I've got to go buy a $50,000-$60,000 piece of equipment.
So I'd rather take that investment, have faith in myself, and buy that mini excavator. You know, I know some of you guys may disagree with me, don't think that's the smartest move. You know, rent it, blow the money, have money sitting in your bank account.
We can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
The debt will eventually catch up. If you have to rent, you know, and say, hey, it's like $400 or $500 a day, just bid those jobs that are one-off as if you need to rent that piece of equipment. So that if you do get the job, it's still profitable. Even if you break even based upon a rental versus buying, and buying having like a payment on it, even if you do that, you got to remember the ratios and the numbers of your business matter. And having a high debt to income ratio makes the business like worthless. The goal is to be profitable, but also have the numbers of the business, like the balance sheet, in check.
Yeah, I'm going to hold off on it until I get some money in the bank. I'm going to fill out the finance information, get 0% interest, buy this little mini excavator. So I think $29,000. I think it's a smart move. Let me know in the comments if you disagree. I wanted to give you guys an update as far as the $100 bill. Nice. Look, the $100 came up.
Let's go to Denver and check on David with Headband Movers. Over the last 3 weeks, David has implemented open book management and shared all the numbers with his team to try and give his employees an owner's mindset.
Yeah, man, I was really nervous about just even opening up the books to anybody. I see now how beneficial it can be.
One of David's biggest struggles is to book jobs in the middle of the month and finding short-term help when he's overbooked during that period of time.
I like to be able to book these jobs, so I got to figure something out.
I think you might be surprised at how many people are actually looking for short-term gigs like that.
He's leaving a lot of money on the table because he simply does not have enough laborers when those big jobs come in that are money makers.
I've turned down a lot of work.
In the last 3 days, I've turned about 15K down.
Let's see if he was able to find a solution after our weigh-in last week.
Things are going smooth. I was able to hire a couple of new guys, new contractor, posted a lot of ads for hiring for the end of the month when we get the busiest. We're leaving a lot of money on the table. And surprisingly, a lot of people responded to the ads and they're interested in working just a couple of weeks out of the month. I didn't think that people would be interested. Most of the guys that I interview want 40 hours a week. So really great advice, Mike. I have a lot of people responding to those ads. I've been following up with them. So I'm putting together a Slack channel for the contractors and the temporary employees. I had the chance to sit down with some of my guys and talk about performance pay, and they're definitely interested. So we're gonna implement that at the beginning of the year when things get a little bit busier. Things are just really gonna slow down as it gets a little bit deeper into winter. So I'm just gonna line up all my ducks, and we're really looking forward to being able to do performance-based pay and just give it a shot. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't, but we're gonna give it a go. So just really stoked about that. Gonna be training a new guy today. Looking forward to that. The team's all in good spirits. Vegas went really well. It was a good experience for everybody, just to decompress and to have some fun. So
David. It's 3 minutes past the time he's supposed to be here. The workout is in session, and David is nowhere to be found. That is not good. Oh no! Your trainer is not happy. Couple more minutes, I'll wait. Okay, with nobody here. But it's Friday evening, and David was supposed to show up for his weekly weigh-in, the final weigh-in of the challenge, but he did not show up. It's like when you go to the gym, do you know that like 70% of people who get a gym membership don't ever show up? That's what's happened here. We've had a gym membership for the past month, and David has shown up all 3 times. But on the 4th and final weigh-in, he's nowhere to be found. So there were several things that I think David did really well over the past 30 days, and several things I think challenges that he's gonna have to face going forward. I think the hardest thing about his business is the seasonality, and I don't mean like spring versus winter. I mean, every single month, he has a middle of the month that he has to solve in terms of fixing that issue. I really believe commercial is the way to do this, and focusing on commercial customers instead of just residential customers. Or he can just lean into the fact that for 2 or 3 weeks every month, he's gonna be super busy, followed by maybe 7 to 14 days of being really slow. How can he do that? He can take his variable cost of labor and try to find people that are willing to work only 2 or 3 weeks. I genuinely believe that is the problem, that if he can solve it, he can continue to grow, but not have that variable cost that he currently is just burning cash and burning his profit during the middle of the month when he's less busy, because people typically move in and out around the end of the month residentially. Commercially, I think there's definitely some more leeway there. However, if he can figure out labor where people are only working for 2 or 3 weeks in little small stints, guess what? Everyone's like, oh no, no one wants to work like that. Maybe you don't, but there's definitely people out there that just need a couple weeks to tie them over, or they're gonna be going to school in a month and they wanna work for just a 3-week stint. That's absolutely, there's people out there. You're gonna have to be constantly hiring. You're gonna have to make sure your systems are nailed down for onboarding, training, getting them ramped up so they can be profitable within a day or 2. Absolutely. But I think that's an easier challenge than trying to find work during that middle of the month. And that way you can just go really hard for 3 weeks. Like you could just work out crazy hours, get as many people, work on the weekends, everything, and then just take like an entire week off. I think the cultural problems that he's had with people not showing up and potentially a massive amount of turnover can be solved by opening up your books, showing the numbers with the team, showing them how much you make, but more importantly, giving them a percentage of the revenue. The numbers that we were going to go over today was very, very important to determine whether or not P for P, pay for performance, would be effective. I really believe if he gave them a 50 or 60% of the revenue on the job, they'd be much more efficient throughout the day because they had cut out a lot of waste, a lot of stopping at gas stations, a lot of getting to the job site, lollygagging around the shop, all of those things. There's no revenue being created. And if you cut those things out, then you can make way more profit. And if you cut those things out, the employees will make more money and they'll want to stick around a lot longer and there'll be less turnover. All in all, pay for performance gets the employer and the employee running in the same direction and pulling in the same direction instead of going in opposite directions. The employee wanting the job to take as long as possible, because the longer the job takes, the more money they make, and the owner wanting the job to go as efficiently as possible and cutting out as much waste as possible. Get everyone aligned and go in the same direction and everyone can make more money. I wish David and Headband Movers all the best. I genuinely believe they're going to grow as long as they can figure out the cultural benefits of pay for performance, open book management, and solving the labor problem that all seasonal businesses have. I think David's created an exceptional brand using the Headband Movers logo and the whole website and the branding and all the rest of it. But ultimately, the only thing that matters is your balance sheet and your profit and loss statement, and whether or not you bring cash to the bottom line, and whether or not you can motivate and keep your team around for the long term. I believe he can do that in the future with those changes. But he failed to show up today, making your trainer very unhappy.
Carter's business is growing faster than he can keep up with.
For me, answering my phone meant I got the job.
He's reached capacity because he only has a couple trucks, and he's literally doing $40,000 a month in revenue and is looking to grow even bigger next spring.
Yeah, take a little bit of a loss if we have to, but just get another truck, because the truck's gonna allow us to keep this pace. But you really, in my opinion, can't do a whole lot more than 35 to 40 grand a month with 2 trucks. Like, you're hitting capacity.
However, in order to grow, he will need to hire some help, whether it's for admin or a project manager, something so he can focus on sales, because ultimately, that's what will grow the business.
Mike has helped my business so much these past few weeks. Helped me with raising my prices, becoming more profitable, figuring out a couple of inefficiencies. Now I'm realizing, like, now that I have 2 employees that are full-time and work is starting to pick up more, doing bigger projects and such, I'm realizing that I don't have time and I don't have the system set up in my business to be able to run it well. I don't have it set up where I could leave and the business would continue. Definitely something that, as I'm smaller, it's not as important, but it's definitely going to be very important down the road. So that's something that I'm really going to be working on, is getting my guys trained and set up to do things on their own.
What's kind of been the progress in terms of getting a third truck or potentially even selling the mowers?
So I think I'm going to keep the Tacoma for right now because I already have it. It's a decent work truck. Maybe eventually when I need to get another one, I can just keep it as my personal. Then for the mower, I was going to talk to you about that. With the amount of growth I'm going to be doing, my thoughts is it worth it to keep it, not make a pay, be making the payments on it, not getting used for the next few months. And that way in spring, when I do split to 2 trucks, one of them can have that as this mower for the bigger accounts, or is that not worth it? Because I just don't want to take a huge loss now by selling it.
I think it just depends on what you can sell it for, honestly. Like if we're going to take $1,000 loss versus a $5,000 loss.
Yeah.
Because my concern is the fact that you haven't been using it all tells me that like it's probably not super necessary. Like it sounds like you're not even using it, which tells me like probably like 20 to 30% of your lawns or less that you'd be using it on. It's just inefficient. I'd rather take a $1,000 or $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 loss on it than trying to accommodate it. And now you're going to have to get a bigger truck, a bigger piece of a trailer in order to pool that size of equipment. And now your whole setup starts to change. In terms of revenue for this month, what are we going to be looking at? I know originally we started off thinking 26, 27, then you were thinking more like 37, 38. What are we at, do you think, for October?
Probably going to be right about 34, 35,000.
Does it look like November is going to be around 35, 40,000 as well then?
It might come a little bit higher than that. I want to get enough tucked away to open a franchise and then hit it hard this spring and try and at least fill up the 2 maintenance trucks, if not get a third.
Carter is gonna crush it. And the reason he is because he's a go-getter and he's willing to put in the work. And he's done that for the past 2 years. But now the mentality needs to change out of doing work to now sales, working on the business and creating systems for his business to get past this bottleneck of $500,000 in revenue. So many people hit that and they fail to create systems to delegate, let other people take things on and allow them to focus on selling, which takes the business to the next level.
As you kind of go into next season, do you have any of your guys that you can kind of lean on? My concern now is like, hey, this year was great, 200, 250, whatever it might be. But when you start passing what next year is going to be very likely 500 to 600,000 at least, you're going to need to start delegating a lot of the project management. Do you have someone that can help you with that going into next spring?
I would most likely use my brother. The only thing is he's the one kind of heading up the maintenance side. I'm getting to the point where I can't manage everything.
I think then if you're really concerned it's going to drop off during the winter, I would stay where you're at, because your capacity is going to be around that 45,000, 46,000 a month in revenue, which is great. You'll be profitable at that, really good. My bigger concern is anything beyond that, though, you start needing help. Yeah. So like if you know, whether the franchise is next spring or the year after, they would help with the admin side, like getting the lead process, doing the sales over the phone, with the mowing side of things, at least taking all that stuff off your plate. Regardless, you're going to need help with the project management side because you're doing these larger projects. Totally. And if your brother can do that, that's a higher level skill than mowing. So if you're able to hire somebody to take his spot, or even say hire 2 people next spring and then pull him out and be like, hey, I need you for project management. I trust you. I'm going to be able to pay you more. And I need you to like take this stuff off my plate. So once I sell the job, you take over. I sell the job. I get everything on the materials, all the rest of it. I hand this off to you and it's your job and I never show up again. And whether you need to give him profit sharing or give him a raise or whatever is needed, because that is going to be the limiting factor now as you pass 40,000 a month in revenue, is simply the fact that you're just going to max out your time. And that's why so many people like can't get above 500 grand in annual revenue, because they max around $40,000 a month and they just run out of steam. You can't be everywhere. Like the determining factor of whether or not you get to 60,000 next year or you get to 80,000 next year is simply going to be whether or not you have help on the admin side and the project management side. I look forward to it, man. You're doing good. It's been great. You executed well.
I really
think
appreciate
you
it.
did really well. Like in the franchise model, what I was really looking for at too is like how well you executed this past month to see if you'd be good inside the system. And I think you'd do great. You have a very level mindset as an entrepreneur. I think they'll serve you really well.
It would be good then to bring my brother to the summit this year, correct?
I would definitely recommend you guys come up together. Just get on the same page. He can be in the support track too, and like learn how to support you better, and like learn from the managers and things like that.
Just finished the final Zoom call with Mike. Really pumped up, really excited. He suggested that I get rid of a lot of the services that only I know how to do, and then my brother will come over to projects. I'll work with him for the next few months, get him set up, and that way by spring he can kind of take over as project manager. Mike said that any skills that he doesn't learn by then, I need to cut from my business. That'll really help. It'll be a big improvement.
I really look forward to Carter joining Augusta Nation because his mentality around business, he's very level in the way that he thinks about things, and he implements and takes action on system, and he's not afraid to work hard. So I really look forward to him joining Augusta Nation. It's going to be a great future for Carter, and ultimately I'm very happy with his progress over the past 30 days. Literally, he was expecting 27,000 revenue. He did 30% more than that, 34, 35 in revenue. Getting a third truck now is going to open up capacity to 45,000+ in revenue towards the end of the year. He was only doing $15,000, $20,000 per month at the beginning of 2022. He's doing a fantastic job, and I look forward to seeing his progress in the future. Back in Tacoma, Dylan is meeting with his future managers about their roles going into next spring.
I wanted to just ask you a few questions just to kind of get your thoughts on it.
We'll kind of tackle it when we get there.
He is also having a very tough time finding that new shop space he needs to grow the business. All the potential options for a new shop he's gotten so far are in some pretty sketchy areas that are surrounded by drugs, crime, and theft.
I'm just kind of sketched out by that situation.
However, he has one more option he still has left to check out. Let's see if that's what he's been looking for.
I think it's going to be too small and the area is not great. She was honest and disclosed that there are some problem neighbors, basically people dealing or using drugs, which, you know, can cause theft in the area. So that right there is kind of a red flag for me, just in general, the size. So back here is the client's like backyard, but there's septic, so no parking. And then behind me, there's kind of a bluff, I guess you could call it, where if it were only my trucks, we could probably cram some trucks and trailers in there, but with employee parking, I don't want to make any waves in this neighborhood, so I think the search is going to have to continue. See how the guys are doing. Hey guys, how you doing out of the way? Oh man, you guys are killing it over here. You're working quick. That looks good. That looks really good. That's kind of what I had. Oh, this is nice. Yeah, it's kind of how I had in mind. Yeah, I think we're in a really good spot. We have a good core group of guys. I really feel confident going into things.
I just think that we're very open right now to where we're at. We're a small group, so we all learn from each other. I learn from them, they learn from us.
The two of us kind of naturally have taken these leadership roles even before then anyway, right? I mean, we're the two most senior guys out of the four in the field.
Well, I'm excited definitely to see how it's going to go. I mean, I feel like right now we're doing a great part of how we're doing training.
Yeah.
I mean, the more effort that we put into it, like we say, compensation and everything could just be better and better.
You know, we've been up and down. We've had a lot of people come and go.
So we're looking to double on work, just how fast we could double on employees.
profit sharing, I feel like it's a huge incentive for both me and Jose to like really like make this as efficient and as profitable as possible.
You mentioned kind of Michael and Jose are even more bought in. Is that, do you think partly because of the conversations and then also the shop, just having the shop, knowing that that's on the horizon, they're kind of looking forward to that now?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of everything. I think they've had time to think about the profit sharing. Maybe the pay has a little bit to do with it, but it's just sinking in. Michael and Jose are talking to each other, having conversations that I'm not even having, and they're like really consulting each other, coming up with plans. I'm really checking in with them, letting them know about the shop space. I think it's just a shift of like they see me moving in that direction. It's like the momentum is like we're going this way. So I think it's just kind of that momentum, and yeah, so that's probably what it is, and maybe a little bit of the show too. I texted them the video and they were like, "Oh, this is cool," like we're on this business boot camp. So just all the factors, just creating kind of a new energy about like and raising the standard, because I have been saying for like over a year, I need to get a shop space. Now I'm like taking action to actually, I'm visiting shop spaces now. So it's like, whoa, this is real.
And part of it too is just being confident in your vision. Part of it is you've always been very conservative in your projections, and that's fine and good. And that's why you have such good cash position, but also it needs to be a sense of leadership, and you're shooting for something. And that's what they're buying into, in my opinion. They've seen the numbers. So now they have the information of an owner. You've given them the compensation like an owner with profit sharing and the increased positional authority. And now it's a matter of you have a vision you're driving towards that they can buy into. And they actually see evidence of you fulfilling on those things. Like if you've been talking about getting a shop for a year and now they actually see it happen, like, oh, like he's serious. Oh, like he actually is giving us authority and not holding everything to himself. Like that's what you got to keep doing as a leader, is just like give them the information, let them run with it. And then you just focus on the vision and growth, right? You've gotten past the part of working in the field. You've killed it. Like you've done very, very well in terms of the cash flow and stacking cash aside. You have no debt, like all that stuff is fantastic. Now it's like, it's a totally different brain shift now towards like, I empower them to do their job. And now it's like, I'm going to lead the charge with simply the vision of what I want the company to become. And that's what they're buying into. And next year when they start saying, oh, he actually delivers on hiring 4 or 5 more people. He actually delivers on a couple more trucks. We get a shop space. Okay. Now we're doing twice as much revenue. Now we're thinking about, where do we expand and grow from here? Like that's the type of thing they'll buy into and stay with you long term. And I think that's what they're getting excited about, is actually seeing execution against the goals.
I can't wait to see what Dylan's going to be doing after the boot camp. He's done a tremendous turnaround over the past 30 days, mostly in his mindset.
So my mindset, it's kind of like, what is that? Paralysis by analysis. It's almost worse at this stage for me than it was starting the business initially, for whatever reason, because those last layers, like I didn't have an employee. I was like, it's just me in a truck, it's like, what's the worst that could happen? But now it's like, okay, I'm moving all my stuff away. I'm investing in a lot more. And the numbers just seem bigger with marketing spend and everything. So this boot camp, before the call is over, I just wanted to acknowledge that the boot camp has really helped kind of get me past that paralysis point of just being like, yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to get into shop space. It's going to happen, to actually take an action. So I very much appreciate what this has done for me in terms of my motivation and my mindset. So
he opened up the books to his team. He got 2 managers that are bought into his vision because he has a dream and something he's pushing towards. And he's taken away this whole paralysis by analysis mindset and actually taking action and steps towards that goal and that vision. And I think it's going to be what leads to a better team, a better result for his business. I think he's going to double his business next year.
And the big thing too is when I see someone like you, Dylan, that is conservative in their finances and makes good, solid decisions without just being flippant about things, that's the type of person that I know without a doubt, if they just put more fuel in the fire in terms of just execution and making decisions faster, they'll always lead to a bigger and better result. Like I was talking with our franchisee this morning on our mastermind, I said, look, if you believe that more than 50% of your decisions are the correct ones, based on math, you should make as many decisions as possible, because you'll make the most distance in your business and in your success. And so when I look at someone like you, like, hey, let's say at 65% or 65 out of 100 decisions you make are good for the business. That means we should always make decisions quickly, because the more decisions we make, the more latitude we'll gain with the business. And that's what I 100% would be putting on you. And that's what over the past 30 days you've seen, is just like, I'm just pushing, like, go do it. Just go do it. Go do it. Yeah. If you just keep that mindset, it's not about making the right or wrong decision. It's simply about making the decision and seeing progress towards something. You might get the wrong shop space. You might hire the wrong person. You might have put Jose or Michael. They might not work out, but it doesn't matter, because taking action towards it with your caliber of skill and business acumen, you will ultimately, making the decision is the right decision.
I really look forward to seeing what Urban Roots is going to be doing under the leadership of the brand new Dylan Moy.
I just finished my last Zoom call with Mike Andes. Super excited about the path moving forward. I was kind of at a sticking point where, I don't know, I was just analyzing too much, kind of growing next year and what it's going to take, finding a shop space. But this is kind of the swift kick in the butt that I needed to be a little bit more proactive. Man, we covered a ton. I'm feeling pretty good. We've gotten much more momentum this last month. After these few conversations, I'm ready to get after it. I'm ready to start. I'm just very thankful to be part of the process with Business Bootcamp, and thank you to Mike Andes and the media crew who always do a good job. Signing out.
Hey boot campers, it's Mike Andes, and if you own a lawn care or landscaping business, I'd like to invite you to Landscape Summit 2023, happening in January of this coming year. It's the event of the year for anyone that's in the green industry, and you're going to be hearing from speakers that have all ran lawn care and landscaping businesses that are 7, 8, and even 9-figure companies. It's going to be an incredible event that you want to bring your spouse, your managers, and your employees and team to get the year started off on the right foot. Book it today. Go to mikeandes.com/summit.
Here at a park with the family, but I wanted to give you guys an update as far as the $100 bill. So I essentially had to pry and ask the guys several different times if they found the $100 bill this morning, and then eventually, after saying no several times, someone did find a fake $100 bill that was put in the truck. I didn't put the $100 bill on the truck. That just so happens to be the B crew. So I narrowed it down to 3 different guys, because 3 guys were working today and they were in that truck. After they said no, then they fessed up. So at least they fessed up, but I was concerned that I was going to have some guys that weren't honest. So yeah, kind of a test. At first it was a joke, but then I was like, you know what, I should test these guys. So yeah, just an update on that. I guess I do have honest employees, even though you got to kind of squeeze them a little bit to get the info out. They did end up fessing up to the fake $100 bill. So. Hey, what's up, Mike? I got a feeling I know what your answer's gonna be, but I was wondering, should I purchase this one right here for a new contract? $14,495 plus tax. And then I have something reliable. This is the best model that they carry. Or should I purchase this one right here? Same 54-inch cutting, right on lawnmower. I'm not sure of the difference. I've never bought a zero-turn lawnmower before. Let me know, please. Thank you.
No, I think my biggest thing for you is like, hey, you're gonna crush it. You're gonna sell really well. I love you, by the way. Like, your personality is magnetic. You're gonna sell fantastically. I think you're gonna have a good team around you too, honestly, because you're so genuine. And the thing is, the debt thing is going to be your art. Like, the thing you're gonna have to keep, just like, it's gonna be the thing you have to just keep pushing away from you. It really is. And I think if you just have the boundaries of, hey, I have a debt to income ratio of 5 to 1. I need, for every dollar in the bank, I'm allowed to have $5 of debt. That's still too much for what I would recommend. I have less than a 1-to-1, and that's usually what I use in my business. The reason I do that is because I want to be able to know, in worst case scenario, I can take all my cash, pay off all my debt, and I'm clear. Because as soon as that ratio is above 1, it ultimately means that you are handicapped and like locked and tied to your business. And that's something that's very scary.
When should I implement that? Should I do it today?
I would be doing that right away. It's just a benchmark.
Small scale?
Like I think if I was you, I'd say, okay, in 2023, I'm going to be 5 to 1. 2024, I'm going to shoot for 4 to 1. In 2025, I'm going to shoot for 3 to 1. The closer that ratio gets, and eventually you get debt free in say 5 or 10 years, that's when the stress level just drops massively in the business. Because right now you are chained to, I must produce X amount of revenue just to break even. And that number is well over $50,000 to $60,000 a month right now, just to pay off the debt service. So you're chained to this business of constantly selling, constantly getting more jobs. When that debt is paid off and now there's either no debt, or at least you have $1 in the bank for every dollar of debt, you have liberty. Like, it's freedom. That's what comes with business ownership if there's not debt.
So I don't feel like extremely stressed, so it might just be my personality, but I don't feel extremely stressed over this,
Here's why I think this is, Aaron, is because you've dealt, like, when you were doing drugs and everything, it was so risky, like physically to you, like the place that you had to come out of, and like the withdrawals and all the rest of it,
Yeah.
you saw such an extreme of pain and suffering that this doesn't seem very hard to you. And that that is literally like a massive gift, because you'll be able to experience pain as an entrepreneur and get through it no problem. And you still have this positive mindset like all the time. And it's because you've seen such a low, this doesn't seem so bad, right?
Yeah.
What I want you to get into is a mentality of now the business is good to the point where now you become free to actually do things outside the business, because right now you're working crazy hours and you have to just for the business to sustain itself.
Yeah, I definitely do feel like I do lack discipline in saving money, that I need to work on, just become mentally stronger at being able to have that discipline to set the money back.
Like the high that you have of getting new equipment needs to be replaced by the high of having just stacking cash, just stacking that bad boy up. You've gone from gutter and you've improved, but there's a whole nother world of what you can achieve when you get to the place where the business isn't controlling you financially.
Yeah, I'm excited for it, man.
I am too, man. I really have enjoyed it, man. You like I said, I genuinely love you, man. Like you have a good personality.
Thank you,
Knowing
bro.
your story and what you've been through is fantastic. I really
You're
look
awesome,
forward to
man.
seeing you guys do.
I love you too, man. Thanks for your help.
Aaron is just a good guy. I know people in the comments have destroyed him over the course of Business Bootcamp, but the things that he has gone through to get to where he's at today, that same determination and motivation is going to be the thing that gets him out of the business trouble he's gotten himself into with debt. I absolutely believe that Aaron will grow the business. I absolutely believe he'll be able to sustain the debt, and I believe he'll be able to change his ways of being addicted to that debt in his business and getting intrinsic pride in having cash in the bank, not shiny pieces of equipment. And I think most importantly, he's changed his mindset about debt, getting more equipment and expansion by adding more services and focusing on the actual numbers of the business and the profitability.
It's actually kind of sad. That's how I felt this morning. It's like a breakup. I think overall the month went great. Definitely, I feel grateful for the opportunity. I feel also grateful that I was able to get my message out. I've never, really got that in depth, on a mass level to kind of tell my story. I've told my story with other people one-on-one basis, but I knew eventually I think I could help out some people. So I hope that I was able to, Mike Andes, he said, I love you, so I also believe in that, loving everyone, caring about everyone, doing the right thing, doing good for all. There's no harm in that. You got to be a man. Don't take it the wrong way. Some people are, I guess, leery of that word, whatever, shy, their own masculinity. But, this world does need more, guys that are willing to care about one another and help one another out. So overall, I think, what Mike's doing here, and, the media team doing this boot camp and helping people out, I think it's awesome. I'm happy that I was able to transition to jobber that I'm going to. I think that I would have waited longer had I not done the boot camp. I'll stay in touch. I actually plan on going to Landscape Summit, so I'll see you guys there. I am here at Vermeer with my nice expensive truck and trailer, checking out this new equipment. Thinking about buying this. Check this out. It's a nice stump grinder. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna buy it. I'm here to pick up my skid steer. So it is a nice stump grinder though, but I'm gonna have to wait until I can afford it. See you guys later. Bye.
Would you like your business to be on the next season of Business Bootcamp? Take your company to the next level in 30 days by going to mikeandes.com/bootcamp and apply today.
I had to make a pit stop real quick, doing some estimates today, and we're gonna be doing some trick-or-treating this weekend or on Monday. And you know what happens when you wait 2 days before Halloween to go shopping for a costume? You end up with a pet costume. This hat was made for a dog, but I'm gonna make it work. I'm actually loving the long hair. Been a while since I felt long hair on my neck. My hair's been falling out for a few years now, so yeah, maybe I'll rock this for the rest of my estimates today. Feels good. I feel young again.